My name is Stephen Barhorst. I'm the communications director for Tammy Thomas's campaign. Right now, we have a lawsuit that we have. Our campaign has learned of a former employee of Mr. Sidney James. Sidney, just for the purposes of giving you a brief overview of what happened here, he had an affair with his wife with a paralegal who is in the room, and you'll get a chance to speak to her a little later on. He took lewd photos of the paralegal that he was having the affair with. He went out to Hooters one night with his friends, got drunk and started sharing said pictures. Mrs. Belafonte, who is here, has he had it linked with his iPad, and when she came in and she started looking at the iPad, she found these lewd photos that he had shared with his mates, and now she is suing Mr. James for damages and has come to work here at the Thomas campaign. Now, all of this that I've just said to you today illustrates what we believe to be a very careless personality, and it demonstrates one, that this person is pretty much unfit for public office. And before I will open it up for questions, I just have two things that I'd like to pose to you guys, just so that when Sidney comes up and answers to you for his actions, I just want you to take two things into account. If he cannot handle his photos, if he can't even handle private photos, what makes you think that he's going to be able to handle classified materials, as House members sometimes do when they're on committee, or even often do just in their day-to-day business? So what makes you think he's going to be able to handle classified photos? The second thing that I'd like to ask you is that you're going to have to be able to look at this big picture here. And I want you to just sort of ask yourselves, or even ask Mr. James, as to whether or not if he's elected, I want you to ask yourselves whether or not his oath to the Constitution that he will make if he's elected will be as strong as the oath that he made to his wife. And with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Do you have any documents or anything to share with the press corps?
I do have a couple of handouts here that if you just raise your hands, I'll
Teams 3 and 4, raise your hands.
Okay. You want to get Ms. Belafonte up and ask them both questions at the same time after she makes her statement?
Does anybody else need? Got some over here.
Oh. My bad.
And does that handout have your name and title on it?
No, but I can go around and I can put my name.
No, that's okay. Just state your name one more time.
Stephen Barhorst.
And spell that last name for us, please.
Barhorst.
And you are the?
Communications Director.
Very good.
So we are, Stephen, you can come on back. You are fortunate enough to have the paralegal in question, and she has a statement.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nikki Belafonte, and I'm a former paralegal of Mr. James. During this time, what I did was very wrong. I know sleeping with a married man is not ideal, but the Lord forgives me. All I know is he had consent to take my pictures. He did not have the right to send my pictures out to his friends. My body is not a joke. My poor nanny almost fell over dead when she found out these pictures had been released. He has exploited my life, my personal angles, and it's just making everything so hard for me to be able to get new jobs in this life. Miss Tammy Thomas has been so gracious to accept me for my flaws and take me on to her campaign. And after this crazy whirlwind of a life that he has made mine to be, I am suing him for damages. I just didn't realize that such a small thing would have such a big impact on my life. Just want to thank you all for having me here. Thank you so much.
And with that, we'll open it up to some questions if you have any.
Can you spell your last name for us, please? Your first and last name, please.
Nikkibelfonte.
Thank you.
And any questions from the media pool here? You want to get us started?
Have you spoken to Mr. James between the time that you found out about the pictures being shared and when you filed the lawsuit?
I have not, but my attorneys have.
Did the Thomas campaign approach you, or did you?
I went straight to her.
Any other questions?
What are you seeking in your suit? What are you seeking? Monetary damages? Are you seeking an apology?
I'm seeking mainly an apology, basically for ruining my name in front of all of the Nashville, in front of my family.
But no monetary damage.
No.
Yes.
Have you apologized to Mr. James and his family for what you did?
Yes, and the Lord has also forgiven me.
What role and capacity are you serving in the Thomas campaign?
I'm mainly serving as a supporter, and I'm also going around and helping her with her campaign. I'm knocking on doors and calling people and just kind of seeing if they want to help donate and anything that she really needs me to do.
According to Mr. James' release, he says that God has forgiven him also. How do you feel about the difference between maybe the forgiveness you've received and the forgiveness he's received?
I think his main thing is that he has to receive forgiveness from his wife.
So you said that you've not spoken to him, but you did apologize to him?
I did not apologize. He knows that I'm sorry because of my attorneys, but I have not personally said I'm sorry to his face. My attorneys have advised me otherwise. Just to not speak with him.
Yes.
Can I ask why you went to Miss Taylor Thomas?
Her being just such a strong, independent woman, she's just really shown me that she's able, that I'm actually to be independent and free, and that I don't have to rely on anybody.
I think we have time for just one more question. Do you have a follow-up?
But why did you go to her when she herself had an affair?
She has not had
an affair.
I believe you are referring to Ms. Carroll's campaign.
Yeah. Sorry, we just forget which soap opera's on at which time.
Isn't that what politics is? Well, I believe that's all the time we have. Thank you all so much for coming out. I guess we'll leave you to Mr. James.
So now we have a response from Mr. James.
Response from candidate James.
And does candidate James have anything to hand out or materials?
I think he may already,
Already does?
I
Okay.
think he's already handed it out.
Proactively.
I believe it's already been handed out.
Is someone accompanying you?
Yes, I do have my wife here,
Oh, your wife is here.
present today.
And your wife's name? We'll talk to her in a second.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So it has come to my notice that news has been released of my actions. Now, I do want to deeply apologize sincerely to Ms. Belafonte for my past actions. I also want to say that it is with deep regret that I seek this apology and promise to everyone that this will never happen again. However, I also want to take this opportunity to add that it is quite confusing that a woman who used to work at my company as a paralegal would jump on the first bus to work with an opposition party. I think there's something fishy going on there that we need to further investigate. As you have read in my documentary, I'm totally fine with my wife. We're a good family and my children. And we have already resolved this situation and moved past it. And I would love for everybody to join me and move past this situation so that we can focus on what is important, and which is deciding who you want to put on your ballot for the 5th Congressional District. Thank you. Would there be any questions? Yes, sir.
So Ms. Belafonte said that her lawsuit against you was seeking primarily an apology, which seems like that's what this is. So do you expect the lawsuit to continue, or do you have any comment on the suit?
If her lawsuit, which I have not gotten expressly, I only spoke with the lawyers, seeks an apology, my wife here, I believe, has something to say about that.
Yes, I would just like to say, when I married Sydney, we talked this out because we knew that something like this might come up one day, and we said, if something is broken, we are not going to throw it away. We are going to fix it. We are going to go to God, and we are going to ask for forgiveness. And Miss Belafonte, I'm so glad that you have found forgiveness in the Lord, and we have too. And it's a little bit frustrating that this is still being brought up when we have already come to terms in it in our relationship and our family, but it's still coming out and going on. And of course, Sydney has apologized, and I hope that that was a sincere apology. I know it was, and I'm so sorry that that happened to you.
Your first name, please?
Hannah?
Hannah with an H?
Yes.
Yes.
What is your position on recent legislation that's been proposed to make things like what you did illegal, as far as sharing inappropriate pictures without the consent of the person in the picture?
Well, sharing inappropriate pictures without the consent of the person in question is a matter of something that should be discussed at length before you take a position on it. It should be a matter that everyone should come, because before you send a picture, I believe there is an implied sort of trust or leisure affair that it might get out there somehow. So I think this is a matter that should still be discussed extensively before making a final decision.
So she should have known when she sent them that it was likely that they would be shared?
Yes, she should have known that it was likely that it would be shared.
He took them. He didn't send it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Question back here.
Mr. Sidney, you mentioned that Ms. Belafonte jumped on the first boss that she saw. Are you implying that it was her fault that you had an affair?
point of correction, jumped on the first boss that she saw. I don't recall making that particular statement in that particular line. But I would say, so I'm not implying that it is her fault that I shared the pictures. But to answer your question, what I said, to clarify, was that I think it's a bit fishy that Miss Tammy Thomas happened to be the savior of all, the Good Samaritan, and the only person that could have been there for her in that situation, even before we knew what was going on. Thank you.
So did you know about this lawsuit when you announced your candidacy, or has this come up since?
No, we did not know about this lawsuit when we announced our candidacy. This is a recent development.
So the lawsuit didn't happen before you announced, but did all these events take place before you announced your candidacy? The sharing of the pictures and the affair both?
Well, I would say the timing of this is a bit foggy, so I cannot give you a particular time and date on that. But I will get back to that question. What is your name, by the way?
My name's Grant.
Grant, I will get back to you. I will be sure to meet with you in person and give you an answer on that.
So you're saying then that the affair went on for an extensive length of time? If it's foggy that you don't remember when it happened?
Exactly what I said is that it's a bit foggy, and if you as well want to know the particular time, we will get back to you. What's your name so we can put it on? Miss Tanaya. Any more questions, please?
Got one here, and I think that's it.
We have one last question. Yes.
If the lawsuit is just simply about getting an apology, have you apologized to her?
Oh, I believe you have. Have you not read the statement? It starts with a distinctive apology, and I can make as many apologies as she wants because that is the right thing to do, and it was already done. I believe if I had known about this, if she had sought an apology before even making the lawsuit, that would not even be a problem. Thank you.
So, is the lawsuit still standing?
As of right now, yes. Because she is receiving the apology preemptively. Thank you.
All right. Is Thomas going to speak to this as well?
Good job.
Yeah, good job. Yay.
No.
Yes, you were speaking for the Thomas campaign,
yeah,
right?
Speaking for the Thomas campaign. Does the Did we have anything from the James campaign manager? So we're good?
Okay. 15
Okay,
minutes
that-
even.
That keeps it